Hello, everybody. Welcome to the final week of class. I was gonna just send an announcement, and then I started writing, and I was like, there's a lot of stuff I need to cover, so let me just record a video. It'll probably be a lot easier. And this is actually the first check-in video that I did this semester. I usually do them for every week. I did not do them this semester because I was teaching an extra class. I work a 9 to 5 full-time job. Just a lot of things going on, so I just didn't have the capacity for it. So it's kind of nice to actually record one of these. So again, this is the last week of class, so I wanted to let you know first all assignments are due on Saturday this week instead of Sunday because that's just the way that the university calendar is structured. So I can't even assign for Sunday because it's just the semester ends on Saturday. So please get any and all assignments to me by then. I'm pretty much all caught up on grading, including the latest essay. There was a few late submissions I needed to get through. So if you go look in the grade book, you should see your grades for everything in the class thus far. There's some extra credit opportunities available this week. There is a this extra credit assignment that you can do that's available in week 7, the extra credit opportunity, and which is watching like a film or reading an article and writing up like a one page kind of thing about it. And then there's this final course evaluation that's also extra credit. So if you feel like you need them, it's there. And let me know if you have any questions about that or anything about any of the material in the class or just anything about the class or any of your grades or anything like that. So this week we're covering environmental problems. I know this is the last week of class, and this is a hugely important topic. I feel like this might be the most important topic that we're grappling with at the moment, with like the Canadian wildfires, with the data center stuff, with there's just like so much going on. Like it's really interesting. I know for like the older folks in the class that are like my age, people in their 40s and older and stuff, you all remember, I'm sure, the it almost feels like quaint thinking about like the environmental issues that we were worried about 10 years ago or even like 20 years ago, like when I was in my 20s. And I remember going to like some Sierra Club meetings and them talking about, reducing pollution, recycling programs. Like now we have pretty widespread curbside recycling programs. And it's very interesting to see the shift in sort of gravity of environmental problems, because these are a lot of the things that have like the worst case scenarios are kind of coming home to roost. Like this stuff with the wildfires. This is the result of climate change. Like it's pretty widely accepted that this is because of climate change, because of hotter summers, drier winters, drier year round. Like there's just less precipitation, less snow, less rain, and therefore creating an environment that encourages longer fires that are more intense and harder to control, and thus creates these larger plumes of wildfire smoke that kind of takes over, the whole northern part of the country, really. Um, it's terrible. I don't remember any of this when I was growing up. I'm sure you all have, likewise memories. Like we never really had to worry about can am I allowed to go outside on this day? And it really, as a parent, it kind of breaks my heart to tell my kids like, sorry, like whatever that was, like 2 weeks ago, when I guess it was like a month ago now, when the wildfire smoke was so bad, like Detroit was ranked as the worst air quality in the world. That I have to tell my kids like, listen guys, I'm sorry we have to stay inside today just because the air quality is so bad, you can't go play outside. And unfortunately, this is something that is probably going to be with us for some time. That there's not an easy so like these are very complex problems that there's not really an easy solution for. This is not something that like Canada necessarily did wrong per se that brought us into this circumstance. Like I'm not a forest management expert, but I just don't think that there's like we have raging wildfires in the United States too, like out west. There's raging wildfires for the exact same reasons, because of climate change producing drier conditions that are just making it more and more difficult to control um, these fires when they start. And I think in the Canadian circumstances is that I've learned, which is I've learned. I feel like a lot of us have learned a lot about why this is happening and like the environment where it's happening in Canada. That they have, this huge expanse of the country that is just forest, the boreal forest it's called, and most of it is inaccessible by roads, and there's just kind of no way to access these fires until they're raging and out of control, because it's just not really on anybody's radar until it's so big that it is on somebody's radar. So anyway, that's one consideration. I'm really glad to see the data center topic getting a lot of attention now. I know it has a lot to do with this election cycle that we're in, but I mean, we're really in this kind of nightmare scenario where there is like this incentive to give away large swaths of our land to build these data centers that are kind of destroying ways of life, that are making it very noisy. The utility bills are skyrocketing. We're using up all of our natural resources, like the water, electricity, like all that kind of stuff. And it's just really terrible. And on top of it, like I work like in my 9 to 5 job. I haven't really gone into it because I haven't recorded these videos all semester. But I do like I work as my job title is a data analyst for this large nonprofit, and I work with AI. I do this kind of this is kind of my like sort of bread and butter, doing this sort of stuff, and being knowledgeable about the industry. What kind of kills me is that I know that they're building this stuff because they have the money for it. The capacity is not really necessary at this time. Like it's in the future possibly necessary, but at the moment, the reason that all of these AI companies are building out these data centers is because they have the money, and they're like, well, we have the money now, and before there's like a crash or a bubble burst, let's get it in the ground and get it committed and get that extra stuff going. So yeah, it's really put places like Michigan and some of these other states that have been targets for these data center constructions in the spotlight. And it's really, really too bad seeing Gretchen Whitmer, our governor, just kind of sign over so much of our land for this data center construction. It's very disappointing. I feel like it kind of goes against a lot of the principles that she stood for when she ran for governor, and that's just sort of my opinion on this matter. It's very frustrating. Like I voted for Gretchen Whitmer. I thought she was pretty good as a governor, and like I said, it's very unfortunate to see this kind of reversal on a lot of the principled things that she claimed to have stood for. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot to think about, and I think that for all of us, whether if you're a young traditional college student, somebody that's just like come out of high school, if you're somebody's kind of closer to middle age like me, or if you're somebody that's even older, we all have our own kind of stake in what's going on in these environmental issues. So I've included a few additional things along with the course material, with the textbook material. Inconvenient Truth, this was from, I want to say 2005-ish, something like that. This was Al Gore. And it still kind of really holds up. And I think that if you watch it in the context of what's going on now, I think it really resonates with a lot of the same problems. And you see how, like I said, these are like the end conclusion for a lot of these terrible things that Mr. Gore was talking about during that time. And then this news article about this is one of the issues with data centers, but with the sound pollution, if you will, that is being generated by these data centers, and how it's really like messing up the quality of life. And this is happening in the in the Upper Peninsula too, where some data centers have been built here in Michigan. So yeah, please look over this material. Do the assignments. Let me know if you have any questions about anything. Sorry, I don't mean to like make this a real bummer or anything, but this is some serious stuff. I mean, these are like, I feel like this week's material. I know it's the last week of class, but I do think that this week's material on these environmental problems is some of the most kind of existential problems, because there's not like a single point of ownership. There's not like yes, using data centers for example, there are the AI companies, but like Netflix also builds data centers. Amazon for the cloud services also builds data centers. This is not just like an AI thing necessarily. Like they have really accelerated and compounded the problems, but this is like just like a problem with the moment that we're living in. And same thing with many of these other issues that we're grappling with. So um, yeah, think these over. Let me know if you have any questions about the material. And yeah, it's been a real pleasure teaching this class this semester. So I hope you all enjoyed going through the class with me. So I will talk to you all soon, and let me know if there are any questions about anything. See you later. Bye.